And we're back. Let's just jump into it. Let's just jump right TF into it. Judah, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Another day in paradise. I hate that
Living the
term.
dream. Living the dream in paradise. From America to India and beyond. From Panama City to Chicago and back again.
So I felt like I wasn't doing enough podcasting, so I started another podcast with Joseph Rhodes, and we've only had one episode. We're just collecting them for now, but it's on comedy,
Okay.
and it's like the anatomy of comedy, of a
Interesting.
joke. And so my biggest anxiety this week is I have to come up. We alternate coming up with a joke to open up the podcast, and I haven't thought of anything. I either it has to be something that he's never heard before, or I have to make one up.
Okay.
And I just I feel stuck. I keep thinking what is funny.
What do you think about Joey Diaz? Have you?
I love Joey Diaz.
Yeah. So Improbable One shared a montage of his "Wake Up America," he's got the national anthem playing behind him, and he's like, "Get up!" and he's just nonstop f words, and some of them are really good motivations. It's like, quit blaming the Russians, quit blaming the Muslims, get up here, come on, grab your balls, you're an American, look in the mirror. Anyways, I showed it to Melissa last night. I was like, what do you think of this? I was like, this is pretty motivating.
You liked it?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Hey, Gyro, how you doing? You're the only person in so far. And then I showed her, have you seen his joke? It's some segment that Comedy Central or somebody does called This Is Not Happening. It's the one where he talks about why he doesn't lie.
Huh.
Oh, my.
I've only ever seen him talk to Joe Rogan.
Oh, dude, you need to watch that. I don't even know how to categorize it. It's like Diaz takes this comedy and almost turns it into this religious act where it's hyper profane, but this is actually he's confessing something in this scene.
Wow.
And you get to the end of it and it's like you laugh and you're like, oh, I don't know, dude. He's a unique character. So, definitely include him in your...
Okay.
Because, in general, comedians just don't do it for me. I don't know. Stand-up comics, it just doesn't work for me.
Well, that's one of the things we're going to be going over is, we're going to review comics and talk about what comics work for us, what comics don't.
See, I would be curious to, listen to that because so much of what is considered funny now, I don't get it. I laugh more playing poker with these dudes on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
at just random things they'll say. And I just feel like so much of comedy is trying to approximate that. But it's hackneyed, it's cultural. Yeah. It's cultural appropriation, actually. It's pretentious.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. So, I'd be curious to see who y'all... side with. I had heard the one comic that I've laughed at recently is Dave Smith, and obviously I'm on the more libertarian end of things. So
Dave Smith,
he's been on Rogan a couple times, or at least once. Okay. He's in that Legion of Skanks group with what's that guy? I'm blanking on his name, but yeah, he makes me laugh. That's about it.
Well, I have to check him out. Yeah. Do you have any ideas of a joke? Something that you would find interesting or funny? You ever notice how, I don't know, I can't, I start to clam up as soon as I start wondering about that.
Yeah, I don't understand the anatomy of jokes either. What makes me laugh? When I try to do it, there's a few jokes that I wrote for the Holly Bolly when I was doing the Bollywood Honest Trailers thing.
Yeah, see, you're good at that.
There's a few of those jokes I've written that I actually go back and laugh. My favorite joke I think I've ever written, and they're usually just these random things. I think I'm like Dennis Miller, I think I
Oh,
have
yeah.
his sort of mentality.
Yeah,
Is it Dennis
I do
Miller?
too. I love
Yeah,
Dennis
it's just
Miller.
he's
Yeah.
all referential. It's kind of
Mm.
annoying because he's just like hyper like referencing these random connections and
A lot of times I don't get his references
right.
too.
And
Yeah.
so that's kind of where my mind goes. It's just maybe this pastiche. And I almost think it's like a defensive mechanism. You know, it's like, oh, I
Mhm.
don't really know how to be funny. But so my pun, my best pun that I came up with. So there's Hrithik Roshan, one of the best dancers in Bollywood, and he
Okay.
was in this famous movie Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham,
Mhm.
and he's like the sexy, you know, love interest, and so there's this scene in his first big movie where he really like blew up because he was the son of a Bollywood legend.
Okay.
He is. So the first big movie that he blew up was called Kahona Pyar Hai, which means, oh my brain, I'm sorry, India. My brain is like, where's the love? I guess is that right?
Caho?
Kahona Pyar Hai. Anyways, a famous song.
Oh.
Help me out, Gyro. So that was his big movie, and there's a big song. So in Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham, when I made the trailer of that movie, it's my favorite one I've ever done. There's
Yeah.
one part he pulls up in this Ferrari or something, you know, or Lamborghini. It's got the doors open up sideways, and he's stepping out and he's looking all sexy, and it's the part, you know, in the honest trailers where it says, you know, starring, and they make a joke about the different people, and
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
I called him Kahona Karhe. Tell me you love me. That's what it means. So that was my joke. Instead of Kahona Pyar Hai, it was Kahona Kar Hai.
Because of the car?
Yeah, yeah. That was my student. That's my favorite pun I've ever written. Tell me you love me. That's it. Kaho. I couldn't think of kahete. Yeah, yeah. Kaho is how you say, speak. So
That's funny. See, I thought Gyro was saying, first tell me you
Tell
love
me
me.
yeah, Gyro points out sometimes after all that hyper profanity, Joey Diaz would go so deep and gentle, like he has so much love for humanity. Yeah. Oh, there was this great thing I saw this week. This just popped up in my feed. John, is it Barenthal, the guy that's on The Walking Dead, The Punisher on
Yeah, yeah.
Netflix?
Mhm.
He tells this story. It's basically his redemption story, and
Hmm.
it's just fantastic because
Wow.
yeah, and Joey, you would expect him maybe to do something kind of like, you know, I don't know, interject or something like that, but
Yeah.
he's just he's in awe of the beauty of the moment, and it's there's just something like we've talked about how we have to rediscover masculinity, but there's this tendency to overcorrect, and and Barenthal talks about that it's like you can go there, and you need to know that you can go there, but that's not the path. That's not what's going to fix the problems. And oh, man, what? Oh, jeez, we tend to just have this view in our heads that the people who have made it was like, oh, it just all came to them on a silver platter. And when you hear what happened to him after this one thing, you're like, oh, that's the thing. When you make it, you become a lightning rod
Yeah.
for disingenuous, enterprising, manipulative people who are just going to use you.
Yeah.
You know, you're just like a lottery ticket for people. I remember there was a time with Pearl Jam was doing some event. I don't know how I stumbled upon this, but it was a live performance. It was some big event, and Eddie Vedder is just like, man, sometimes just you just want to say F humanity. We just got served papers. Like on stage at this like charity event gig, he got served papers for something. Like he was getting ready to go on stage, and this guy came and served him papers. They were being sued for who knows. I can't remember what it was, but it was really frivolous. It was like stupid. And he's like, you know, you just try to do something nice, and all you ever do is get all this BS back. And it's like we do not see what goes behind the scenes a lot of times, and we just assume, oh, look, all the glitz and glamour is great. But as soon as you have that glitz and glamour, you attract parasites, you know. And so it is difficult. This morning we were going to I was going to do what I did last week with the base Bollywood and do the video premiere together, but I'm actually just going to, I'd already recorded the whole thing, but the format is just taking too long to do that way, even though it is just a slideshow. So I just realized I'll just do it as a slideshow during the podcast. I mean, it's I've been trying to figure out. We're still in this formative time. So for the 4 people who are here, we in 2020 are going to try to negotiate what the version 1.0 of the Surfing Violence podcast would be. And every time I think I'm about there, something happens in my life, and I'm like, I just don't have time to take it to the next level and make it more polished. If you go back and look at or listen to early Rogan episodes, like he was still finding his rhythm, in his interviewing style, and they weren't as good, and he says that, like, he didn't really find his niche. And I am not looking for this show to be like Rogan. I'm trying to figure out what it is, and I don't want it to be. I want it to be more towards the self-help of like JBP on the one hand, but I don't want it to be that either. So, and I've really been, my favorite podcast of 2019 is the Perfume Nationalist podcast. And what I like about them is that every show doesn't go on forever. It has they have a finite topic they're talking about, one scent and one film or cultural artifact. And so it grounds the episode. So there's less of this sort of like, even Rogan annoys me sometimes with that, because they'll follow a rabbit trail of a conversation, and I'm just like, this has nothing to do with, I'm not interested in this at all. And so it really depends on the quality of the guest and their ability to extemporaneously talk about something and keep it interesting. Right. And I have a tendency to go off on these wild tangents, so to make it, and Ford rants. So we're going to try to hash out a better like format that'll rein it in a little bit. And I think right now the rabbit trail I'm on, that I feel like gets back to the creative and cross-cultural and constructive ideal that I had when we started the channel before going to India, was this base Bollywood thing will be a good way to focus on that without being so attached to whatever is popular and current. Because if you're a Bollywood review channel or a movie review channel, you have to talk about whatever's coming out. And this, I can take one cultural artifact, kind of like Perfume Nationalist, and just out of time, and just say why this thing affected me. And in the process, it's kind of like rejuvenating my love for India, what drew me there in the first place, and articulating why it hit me, and hopefully helping some. There are many Indians, I think, especially like in urban settings, that almost have like Bollywood has become like a guilty pleasure to them. It's like, oh, I can't, like people don't like it, and it's like, it's just not cool. But they still have this. There's something almost like it's almost like a gravitational pull towards this pop culture thing. I mean, and same thing with us, like with comic book movies. I mean, it's like it's in vogue within lots of art communities or indie film or cool hipster kids just to make fun of comic book movies, and I've done it too. But then there's something gravitational about it. There's just something like an Americana ethos to the whole comic book genre that kind of calls us back, even when we are being cynical. Like there were moments, as much as I complained about like the end of Endgame, there were still things in that movie that I liked. I mean, you think about everyone who hates the movie, they're still using the old man Chris Evans meme, So I mean, the influence of these giant tent peg cultural events is, you can pretend that it's not there, but it is. I mean, it's just a gravity well. And so my goal is to focus on the good things, specifically through music with this base Bollywood series, and so I think it's a good part of the podcast, and doing it as a video essay, I just don't have the time for that. So I thought, just making it a subset of the podcast would be a good way to talk about cross-cultural stuff. And it kind of serves as a springboard to other topics of conversation, because we don't specifically focus on the movie usually. And then also with that, so today we're going to do this little experiment. I'm going to do a little slideshow and what I've written about Gujani, Amir Khan film from 2008, I believe. And then we're going to go and continue. We started a slideshow conversation in December about mastery of craft and action.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've added a little bit more to that, so I was going to pick up with that.
Okay.
So for the last 4 years, I've been trying to write this book, Building a Better Me. And every time I think I'm like on the cusp of releasing it, like in chapter by chapter to my Patreon audience or something who doesn't pay attention anymore anyway. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't feel right about it. It feels masturbatory. It feels like a stream of consciousness. Like it's really meant for me. And maybe someday it could be useful for people who are in the point where I'm at now. But like, I kind of need to prove that I can get out of it first, I feel like. I think...
Well, I respect that, but I also want to encourage you to also push yourself to let it out,
Yeah, I think we will get there. But the nice thing about the Based Bollywood brand or framework is that it kind of focuses me a little more, and it's not quite as depressing as some of my rants and stuff. But then we'll also focus on this personal action side of the thing. So we'll see how that goes today. I'm not going to interact as much with chat. Doesn't look like it's a problem anyway. And then once Judah heads out, I'm going to play one game of League. So that'll be today's episode.
All right.
I will hit chat a little bit here. Arjun says, I hate the fact that you left Delhi, man. Any chance of coming for a vacay? Not unless we can be in a Bollywood movie. So, spread the word. Ford is looking to be a villain in a Bollywood film or independent Indian film. I just need my travel costs paid for. And yeah, definitely do that. So, King Etch. How you doing, bud? Ferdy. That's my cousin. All right. You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready for this. Yeah. Are you streaming on Facebook? No?
I thought I was. Am I not?
No, I don't think so. Not that I can see.
Initialized.
Unless you're shadow banned from me.
It's possible. I mean, who knows? Yeah, I've only got viewers in YouTube and Twitch. Weird.
Oh well, let's go.
Yeah, well, I am kind of curious now that you mention it.
Where's Jamie? Get Jamie on it.
Jamie, come on, man. Let's get this show on the road, dude. What you doing?
Careful, I can see some things you're putting on.
Weird.
Oh well, let's go.
Here, well, I am it's on. It's on Periscope. All right, well, there's that. All right, today we're going to be talking about Kaise Mujhe, and this is a very influential Bollywood song. I'm going to talk about why it impacted me. The Surfing Violinist presents Based Bollywood, a celebration of toxic masculinity and Bollywood's countless song and dance numbers. Today, Kaise Mujhe from 2008's Gajani. India has an obsession with benchmarks. You may say everyone does, and you're right, people are people. Statistics are a universal concern in a world of globalized finance, but India has a special fascination with numbers, especially zero, with evidence that India may have been the first to use a decimal place value system using zeros. The concern with counting zeros has lived on at the box office with a unique twist that differentiates India from Western box office counts. Two terms you get to know in India that become very important: lakh and crore. Lakh means 100,000 and crore 10 million. In rupees, a lakh is roughly equivalent to $1,400 in today's numbers. A crore is about 140,000 US dollars. You start thinking in these benchmarks much more once you live in India. In 2008, Gajani set a new record, becoming the first Indian film to cross the 100 crore benchmark in net domestic ticket sales. That means 1 billion rupees, in today's dollars about 14 million. Back then it was significantly more, if I recall. Gajani began the trend of the 100 crore club, the crop of blockbuster Bollywood films that made 100 crore profit. One other bit of important information for outsiders to understand before diving into the film and the particular song we'll be focusing on: Aamir Khan, not the boxer. To the average Indian living in India, the guy on the right there is only one Aamir Khan, and that's him, Mr. Perfect, that guy. But there are three Khans of import as far as Bollywood is concerned: Shah Rukh, Salman and Amir. So Salman is over here on the left in Bodyguard. Amir is the middle dude in Three Idiots. And then on the right over here, we've got Shah Rukh, SRK, King Khan in his film Raw 1. I'll talk about that movie someday, probably, but not reflecting well on it. These are the three most bankable actors in modern Bollywood history, and between 2000 and today, they have fought tooth and nail at the box office. But 2008's Ghajini saw the box office profits shift from King Khan, that's SRK right here, to Amir, Mr. Perfect, and Salman on the right over there. With his emphasis on muscular everyman masala films, Salman, Amir had an emphasis on independent filmmaking taken to a Bollywood audience. SRK, the crazy thing about him is he's one of the richest actors on earth. He's reported to be worth more than Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, and Harrison Ford. He's an absolute legend. So in 2007, his film Om Shanti Om, which he starred in, was the last time he led the box office in a year. 2008, Ghajini came along from Amir. Then 2009, Three Idiots. Both of those crossed the 100 crore club. And then after that, it's been a pendulum swing almost every year without fail between Amir and Salman. Salman had this movie Dabangg. It competed at the same level in the 100 crore club. And so they've gone back and forth. And then it was the 200 crore club. And then it was the 300 crore club. And all of that changed drastically when South India entered the picture with Bahubali and exploded broke every record in India history. I think they set the 500 crore standard. So, but we'll get into that. But Amir and Salman have been back and forth ever since Ghajini. Ghajini set the tone for the kind of masala film that would work in this new market. Extremes of emotion, an operatic buffet of comedy and tragedy, a ballet of seemingly contradicting tones and colors that juggle so many goals in one tent-peg event. Amir Khan is one of Bollywood's treasures. He's not known, especially as of late, for his dancing acumen, but he is a perfectionist when it comes to taking his preoccupation with traditional narrative cinema and making it merge with Bollywood song and dance fixated all-you-can-eat buffet blockbuster film market. Amir's global success with the inimitable Lagan back in 2001 took his reputation for perfection to another level. He wasn't just phoning in cameos and pigeonholing plagiarism anymore. He was trying to make Bollywood movies that would make sense to people outside of the industry. Ghajini is a strange film. It is quintessential Bollywood, but is very difficult for an outsider to categorize. It's not a rip-off of the 2005 Tamil film with the same name, but an official remake/adaptation for the Bollywood market, with not only the blessing of the original director, but the direction as well. Some shots from Ghajini. And then this is the original source material, a Tamil film, Ghajini, also called Ghajini, and that's the director. And I'm not going to attempt to pronounce his name because I'm going to make every South Indian squirm. So I'm just going to call him Imman. Murugados. Any South Indians, tell me how to say that. I don't know. But I'm going to call him Imman. So the director, Imman, wrote the script for Ghajini after hearing about Christopher Nolan's Memento and settled upon making a film that used the conceit of Polaroid pictures helping a victim of short-term memory loss remember how his wife was killed. That one high concept is really the only link between the two Ghajinis and Nolan's Memento. In true Indian film fashion, Imman took that idea and made a musical with variations on that theme, and Amir Khan took that film and improv'd a bit as well, adding his own on-camera charm, changing the script for the final act, and calling in the help from an old brother in arms, A.R. Rahman, who scored the soundtrack for Lagan. Rahman had already reached global notoriety for his work on Slumdog Millionaire. It hadn't won at the Oscars, I think, until the next year, but it had already released worldwide. So everyone in the world pretty much knew A.R. Rahman at this point. But his music for Ghajini is still the stuff of legend. This is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. You can kind of think of Bollywood as Pimp My Ride meets Pick and Pull, a cinematic junkyard in which any pieces or parts from other motion picture vehicles can be taken to make a motion picture vehicle that somehow, in spite of all its ramshackle components, turns into something strangely grand. Gudgeony is a mystery to me. My filmmaking brain thinks this movie is dumb. The climax is stupid. It's like taking Christopher Nolan's Memento, forcing it to make love to his girl Friday, and then have Chuck Norris raise the kid. The climax of this film is like a bad Chuck Norris movie. I don't know what to say other than movie criticism is actually what is dumb. It just doesn't understand and cannot understand reality. It doesn't understand the box office. This movie disproves my prior thesis that Bollywood movies are less than the sum of the parts. Because somehow, with all its tonal inconsistencies and schizophrenic genre switching, it still is. And I guess Amir was right after all. The ending isn't dumb. I am. Bollywood lives, that's enough. And without this movie, the world would miss out on some of A.R. Rahman's finest work, because we get to the song that made me realize that non-period piece masala blockbusters could be maximalist works of contrapuntal art. Let me make brief mention of the artistic liberties that made for some great music. An ethnically Indian visionary named Tarsem Singh, it's this guy right here on the left, has made a number of films that have never quite broken through into the mainstream box office in terms of box office numbers. But they certainly have influenced the subconscious style of films. In 2000, he directed the Jennifer Lopez film called The Cell, which featured a number of dream sequences that were shot here in this place, Dead Vlaai in Namibia. Tarsem would return to use the same visually striking setting in his 2006 film The Fall, which for me is a benchmark of creative, cross-cultural, and constructive filmmaking. One of my favorite films of all time. Bollywood films love using interesting backdrops for their song and dance numbers, especially the romantic ones. We've already mentioned Shami Kapoor and his lovebird in those Winter Wonderland evergreen scenes, but the romantic inner monologue dance scenes with lush backdrops use every setting imaginable. This time, Khan and M-Man followed Tarsem's lead and used this visually striking location in Namibia for the backdrop of A.R. Rahman's brilliant song Guzarish. This is Bollywood homage at the peak of its powers. This scene is what I mean when I say pick and pull meets pimp my ride. Borrowing pieces from here and parts from there to make a new work that maybe isn't revolutionary, but carries on the potency of the original work and renders it approachable for its home audience. Rahman's walking and sliding bass line is funky, and he uses a female vocalist really high on Enya. We're talking Lord of the Rings Enya dropped right in the middle of Namibia. And then with all this beauty and lushness, Rahman plays with the harmonies and makes this thing feel foreboding. It's complex and concerned. It's not just this glib, happy rom-com dance. Something is coming, and while Amir's character doesn't know it, the fates do, and the direction, songwriting, and setting of this scene with all its complicated and sinister pedigree from The Cell and The Fall make the viewer feel almost subconsciously concerned. Love is bittersweet, but this is worse than that. The other songs in the film are standard Bollywood stuff, but Rahman doesn't phone in any of them. They're all good in their own way, but none quite hit that emotional peak we found in Guzarish until Amir, Imman, and Rahman and the lead actress Asen give us something truly unique in Bollywood terms. But before we get to that, I do want to mention Asen here. If feminists want a female empowerment story, you can't do any better than this actress. She started as one of India's smallest film industries, worked her way all the way to the top to repeat appearances in the 100 Crore Club. She's an accomplished dancer, speaks 8 languages, dubs her own translations, just an absolute monster work ethic. She's done films in her native Malayalam language, Telugu, Tamil, and of course Hindi. She played the love interest in the original Gajani. And Amir and M-Man thought she did well enough to make the transition to the big leagues. In this film, she runs the gamut. She is effervescent, manic pixie dream girl, Hollywood super starlet, working girl, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and yes, damsel in distress, but she dances between all of these with ease. Her death scene in both films is soul-crushing. For me, it truly holds up. Even for extremely accomplished actors and actresses, death scenes are easy to oversell. The first one that comes to mind whenever I think about... What's one that comes to mind when you think about a woman dying in a prominent movie that's like oversold? Or any like death scene that's over the top. The one that comes to my mind is Dark Knight Rises when, what's her name? Talia.
Oh, yes.
That's the one that comes... What's her name?
I forget.
Mine's blanking on her. Yeah, like
Yes,
think of
that was
death
the worst
scene.
dying death scene.
Well,
Yeah.
Asin does not do that in either film. So that the still on the top is from the 2005 Gujani, the Tamil one, and the one below is from Amir's 2008. And both of them, like they imprinted. Like even though the film is melodramatic, I still think of this death scene. And they also both of the films, the villain uses this really weird contraption to kill her, and it's I don't know, it is pretty sinister. So Asim's a dynamite talent, truly a star.
Her name's Marianne Cotillard. Or
Cotillard. Yeah,
Cotillard.
Cotillard.
Cotillard, I guess.
So, to the song dance number that really won me over to all that Bollywood could be, Kaise Mujhe. Rahman gives us this song, How Did You Come Into My Life? And Amir and Imman put it right into this pivotal place in the narrative. At this point, Asin's character doesn't know she's been hanging out with a billionaire. It's kind of one of these You've Got Mail sort of scenarios, or Our Mutual Friend, where it's like she doesn't realize that she's dating a bigwig. So he's still making up reasons for their separations due to his demanding travel schedule. He says he has to go to spend some time with a family member who's sick. He's already expressed his undying love for her, but she tells him that she must live up to a promise of financial independence. She has to be self-sufficient before she can marry. A working-class actress in commercials makes such a goal pretty difficult, especially when the benchmark she's inherited from her father for such a goal is 3 Ambassador Classic cars. Now, Ambassador Classics are the taxis you often see still to this day in Mumbai and Delhi and pretty much everywhere. They're reliable. They're old school. They're not as expensive as, a lot of newer cars would be, but they're still not cheap for somebody with her kind of salary. She makes enough money to get her first Ambassador Classic. But when she hears that Amir's mom or whoever it is, makes up a story that somebody's sick and he's got to go, she liquidates her asset and gives him all the cash. So Amir is gobsmacked because this prolongs their engagement, but he's in awe at her selfless concern. He's supposed to be Mr. Darcy here, working miracles that would woo Elizabeth Bennet, but here the heroine's plucky determination is thwarting his plans. Goodbyes are a staple of filmmaking. The railway platform as a romantic setting has been used by Bollywood just as much as anyone else, and Bollywood has always maximized the amount of emotion you could get at the railway platform. But this goodbye begins in a gully, and this scene could take place pretty much anywhere in all of India. And normally in India, when you have a song and dance number that's trying to be a blockbuster hit, because a lot of Indian filmmaking is really tied to these 1 or 2 or 3 singles that they're trying to sell for ringtones or downloads or whatever. So the fact that you're tying this to a song and dance number that has no Machu Picchu in the background, no Great Wall, no pyramids, but just a normal Indian gully that can be filmed anywhere in India, and we get the intro of Rahman's song. And the director, he cues slow motion on Amir as he rounds the corner frame right. And at that point, you would normally, in your typical Bollywood scene, you would dissolve to the song and dance number, showing the heights and lows of, star-crossed love. But we get a montage of absolute boredom. Amir's character traveling, riding in an auto, meeting with his staff, getting in their little cavalcade to go to the airport, going through airport security, boarding the plane, all while A.R. Rahman's solar plexus pummeling melodies perfectly encapsulate bittersweet goodbyes and the pangs of star-crossed love. We get a few flashbacks of Amir and Asin's budding love story, but for the most part, we watch Amir thinking, just looking out the window and stuff. And it's perfection and unexpected from a Bollywood blockbuster. This is Bollywood coming of age. Daring because they're risking their blockbuster's number 2 song with a dance scene that has 0 dancing in it. And this is the first film to usher in the 100 Crore Club. This is taking Masala film and saying, what if? What if we took a segment of a Bollywood buffet and actually trusted our audience? If you listen to the song in its final form, you'll hear a female vocalist croon soulfully and deliver her own verse, but this sequence does not give us that moment. In a place of that, Rahman continues the theme he started with Guzarish and adds to that unsettling mood a downright morose brooding. Something is brewing, minor key, and this ain't going to end happily. Imman and Amir save that female vocal line for a Forrest Gump style ending. There's more shots of what we see during that montage. A real, cold. Everything's really cold as he's thinking. It's all slow motion. It's all Amir Khan just not knowing what to do. He has this wad of cash that she just gave him. He's a billionaire. He doesn't need it. He's just like, what am I doing with this thing? And there's just something feels wrong, like he may not see her again for some reason. So they save that female vocal line that comes in the middle of the song. They save it for the end of the film once he's, gotten revenge and gotten peace himself. So he sits on the bench, and it's draws parallels to Forrest Gump and maybe even a little Good Will Hunting. And Asin shows up in memory form, and they share a moment. Here Amir really has the time to process his grief. And so it's here that I realized that Gudgeoney is a manic pixie dream girl film in which courtly love is shown for the positive thing that it really can be. A lost art. This is a love story without a kiss. This is Dante and Beatrice. Because, she really does lead him into hell. And he comes out. And you can see there the last shot is him finally staring forward. He's been spending the last 5 years of his life looking back, to try to salvage, her sacrifice. And so finally he can steer into the future. When I first watched Gudgeoney, I thought it was a messy masala film that served as little more than expensive packaging for two fantastic songs. But now I finally understand a good Bollywood blockbuster is a maximalist work of soap operatic art. So my plea to Bollywood is, don't change a thing. Keep being you. Don't turn into Killing Them Softly or Star Wars. You have a new course to chart in the 2020s, and you will discover it through dance, not through keeping up with the Weinsteins or the Disneys. I think you can make better movies than Gudgeoney for sure. But that was the beginning for me of realizing that Bollywood was doing something different and it wasn't ashamed of it. That it was working with the market that existed and having as much fun with it as possible. So any thoughts about this as an outsider looking in, Judah?
It seems really, this is the problem I typically, and correct me if I'm wrong, but problem I typically have with Bollywood movies, like the problem I have connecting with them is that it's really scattered, yes. It's hard to focus on one. I feel like it's like three movies in one type thing.
Right.
And I mean, seeing the slides, of course, doesn't, seeing it chopped up in slides doesn't help, but it feels like it feels to be like a lack of flow and integration.
Yeah, and you do get that, because Bollywood has been characterized by inner monologues that are expressed through dance, where it's not just like a flash mob where everyone starts dancing in the street. It's literally like it's an expression of how the person feels, Now sometimes they have, in the one we talked about last week, the dance competition movie, a lot of those dance scenes are actual dance scenes. But
and that one seemed a lot more focused. It had
it
all
had
the way
a plot,
to the end. It had a crescendo at the end. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So this is one of those movies where it feels like a buffet. It feels like, a la carte. You got all these different little parts and you can put them together. And so it can be disconcerting. But it really is its own unique sort of reinterpretation of Western musicals. The Bollywood masala film. And that's why they use the term masala, because it's just so many different types of spices thrown together, where it almost, for an outsider, it's like, oh, it's too much going on. But there is something kind of captivating about the whole thing, and you really have to take Bollywood on its own terms. So, for instance, like the final scene, I went back and watched a little bit of it, and it's really interpreting, those old cheesy martial arts movies where it's like the sound effects are really over the top. It's like whatcha, 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 whatcha. It's like almost sounds like somebody's mouthing it or something. And it was like some of the punching sounds sound mechanical. It almost sounds like like an anvil getting hit or something like that. So it follows that kind of thing where it's just everything is heightened, and so there's a real temptation just to dismiss Bollywood out of hand because of that kind of, they employ that sort of all over the place. You really have to take it as like a WWE opera, if you can think of it that way. I do think that there is probably a more deft way to handle it than you typically see, but it still works for their market. So it's like, why would they change it? Like they're not making less money. Like Bollywood ain't dying. Like they're making more money every year. I mean, they're getting up to the 500 crore club, and it continues to expand. So I mean, they don't have, every time they try. So Amir Khan has tried many times. He's done these independent films and tried different stuff. He did this one called Dobie Khat, which was like it reminded me a lot of Salaam Bombay, and it actually had good moments in it. So I thought it was a solid independent film. But it didn't resonate with the Indian audience. They're just like, yeah, we get it. Life's hard. We want to escape when we watch a movie. Like, shut up. So
interesting. What if you could take something out of this movie and recreate it? What would that thing be?
Ooh. Well, see, I've always thought I would change the ending, and I would change some of the more like meathead stuff. But at this point, the die had been cast. Like Amir Khan and Salman Khan, they'd only been in one film together. I think that's true. Andaz Apna Apna, and so they had this real kind of rivalry going. And Salman had already started going into this beefcake mode where he was all buffed up. So Amir, to compete with that and to win some of Bhai, they call him brother, to win Salman's fan base, he tried to buff up himself, and he did. I mean, he worked out pretty hard. I mean, the dude looks ripped. So that was one of the things about the film. It just felt very Chuck Norris-y inserted into Memento. You're watching Memento, and then all of a sudden you got this rom-com. You're like, whoa, tonal shift. Okay, but it's flashback, so maybe it works. You got, Manic Pixie Dream Girl, his girl Friday, snappy, like sort of, go get him woman, and it's like You've Got Mail, and then all of a sudden you flash back to the future, and it's Memento, and then it turns into Memento as interpreted by Charles Bronson. So you're like, what? So at the time I would have said, yeah, just scrap all the Charles Bronson-esque stuff. But now I just feel like it stands as it is. Like it is what it is. It's not trying to be something else, and it worked for its target audience. So why complain about it?
I'm not saying how would you redo it. I mean, what out of this movie? I guess because I'm such a narcissist, I look at the things I like and I want to assimilate them, and I picture myself repurposing parts of it. What part would you repurpose? What part would you take with you into your own production?
I just think the way that the team made this is truly a collaborative, not auteur vision of how a cinema dance can be navigated, because you've got Rahman's brilliant melody, his brilliant penchant for melody, and like putting in this, I don't know, like there's color, and there's like a minor key feel under this major love story. And I'm serious, like there's that part in the Guzari scene where they're out in the Namibia desert, and it's straight up Enya. Like Rahman just totally lifted like Enya's voice from Lord of the Rings and had another singer sing like, I want you to sing Lord of the Rings right here in this part of the song. And it feels seamless, and it feels like it's just beautiful. It imbues this dance scene
Mm.
like with this wonder, this like otherworldly wonder. And so I think taking the mood and the tone, it's like, again, if you compare of the two movies, if you compare this to The Fall, which was one of my favorite movies, I'm going to pick The Fall, but I'm not always going to want to watch The Fall. There are certain things that, like, little visual worms that have gotten my head from this film. Mainly probably Asin's death scene. But there are other moments too. And Amir's good. I mean, he's a great actor. Like, people do write off Bollywood actors way too much. Lord Maximus in Twitch chat asked about Tari Zameen Par, which is another Amir Khan film about a kid who has dyslexia. That movie is a gut puncher. Dude, again, this one's not a A.R. Rahman didn't do the songs for that one, but there's a song in there called Ma, Mary Ma, and it's guitar based, and it sounds just like a ballad, But the kid gets left at this orphanage, or this it's not orphanage. It's like a boarding school or whatever to help kids with like learning disabilities or something. And his mom has to leave him there. And the scene is just brutal, dude. And the song is like, the Bollywood penchant for matching mood to song is, I feel like it's rarer in American cinema. I think people who are frustrated and annoyed with how repetitive Bollywood can be because they have a very, very focused formula. That song is definitely going to be covered in the base Bollywood series. It's at least one from Tari Zameen Par. And, so they find ways to deal with social issues in a way that's preachy, but still somehow cinematic. You're like, how is that even possible? Like when I see it in a Hollywood film, it's like, this is a sermon, this is propaganda. But in Bollywood, like, because of that tonal shifts, like, they can get away with it to a large degree. And they're just not taking cues from traditional, like, Western Aristotelian, like, and in Western interpretation of Aristotelian plot structure. Show, don't tell, do this. Like, sometimes they just straight up tell you, they just break the fourth wall all the time in their own way. So it's just it knows it's a movie and it's not ashamed of that,
Yeah.
Yeah, and Amir Khan's a good director and he's a good producer. He's probably my favorite in terms of consistency since Lagan. So, no, Heidel's been to Namibia. Wonderful chicken. I've never been to Namibia. I still haven't watched The Wrecking Crew. I'm sorry, man. I hardly watch any movies anymore.
What is The Wrecking Crew?
He talked about it a while back. It's about jazz. Like
all right, yeah, that's right.
So
he says, Christmas light guy, how's the wrenching job? The wrenching job. Oh, does he mean because I work at the?
Yeah.
Oh,
He doesn't pull the wrench too much.
I do. Well, but I play mostly on the computer. I am their social media marketing guy. But he says it's low compression preferred over high compression engines for turbos. Well, that's the age-old question. Does the extra compressed oxygen give you more boost? I actually think yes. I think you go with higher compression. There's it's pretty much the same pressure, just double the moles of oxygen in the second motor configuration.
I was talking about pick and pull in Pimp My Ride, so I mean it does tie into that. So, and I did not like doing it this way at all because my Jamie side of my brain just totally like blanked. It's like, oh well, screw this. I guess we'll do it the other way. If we include Base Bollywood in the podcast, we'll just do it the premiere. I'll just premiere because then it's more polished looking.
What if what if you just had it, like, what if you just sent it out to one of my guys, like or one of your guys on on one of these websites where they do it for dirt cheap,
Oh, like Fiverr or something.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. Somebody edits this shit for like that. Yeah, it takes
Yeah.
me forever, dude. Even doing this dumbass, like just the slides, like it takes me like 2 hours to assemble the slides, and it still looks like garbage. Yeah, I mean, I can't use video because it just totally makes it like I
What?
don't know. You can't. I mean, you can't. I don't know. Maybe I should just use video because it's not like it's getting views anyway. So it's not like I'm making money if I use it. Yeah, maybe I should just make them video essays.
Hmm.
I don't know. Happy to hear feedback on that from
Yeah.
you guys. Maybe I should just do a pro bono as marketing. I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe that's what I might need to do. Because it's still taking me. It's still pain in the ass just getting the slides to work properly.
Really?
Yeah, like it would be easier actually just to throw video in it. Maybe I just do it that way. I don't know.
It looked fine.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, it's actually tedious. Like I'm literally just using Google Slides to do this. So like, oh, this is easy, but you still have to go find 120 images. You know.
Yeah. 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 That is the hard part.
Golly. Make it stop. All right, we'll talk a little bit about mastery of craft and action. Let me bring this back up over here. So we started this podcast topic back in December. I think somebody asked us a question about this. And so I started writing out a framework for, not that you can see that at all. I'll read the framework steps for you. Fun, function, format or form, leading to flow, which is economy of movement, finesse, force, and either ferocity or fragrance. So bookended with very emotional things, fun and ferocity or fragrance. And you start off with fun in mind when you go into a new activity, because especially if it's an extracurricular thing, I think putting fun at the beginning is going to help you remember why you're doing it. And if you can keep fun in mind even in very difficult tasks, you can improve morale. Not everything that we do is going to be fun, but there is an element of fun to a lot of things that are difficult. So if you're in the building world, there's an element of danger and fun to crawling in the rafters. Like you can actually make that fun. And making it fun makes it safer, to be honest, because there's a competitive nature to it and stuff. It's when you're not paying attention that things get dangerous. Now, there are ladder falls and stuff that happen probably because people are trying to be too creative with the way that they put ladders up in very precarious places. Whew. There's some interesting ways to tackle these situations that ends up being very dangerous. But I started going through, and the further I got into thinking about what it means to become a master of craft and action, I kind of left it with function or fun. That was, I think, where we stopped with those two shots from Silicon Valley, where you can make something very functional, but if it isn't fun, your users aren't going to care. Kind of like my channel. My channel has gotten very functional, but there's nobody here because it's not fun. So someone also brings up, though, Bomb Diggy Bomba brought up some of this. Like, why overplan? Why not just have fun? Why not just focus on what you are intrinsically drawn to? You know, the gravity well that kind of sucks you in. Why overplan and come up with this format and come up with this path and these rules for life and all this stuff? So I've got three little images here. I got Narcissus staring into the water. The problem is with trusting your heart, you can kind of become self-indulgent and you end up only seeing you in the world. You end up loving hearing your own voice. I'm guilty of that. There's a Bible passage that says, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. Who can understand it? The Memento is timely, since we're talking about Gajanese today. Memento is a story about a guy who, spoiler, deceives himself into into method acting away his sins. And I think that's a great metaphor for human beings. We trust our hearts, but we don't realize our hearts are this insoluble puzzle. It's a maze designed to never let you get to the center. Like, we don't want to self-reflect. We don't want to self-reveal because we realize what we're going to find, and that means we're going to have to change. Is it really instinct that's drawing us? That's the other question. Or is it, have we been groomed to like things through behaviorist conditioning or Pavlovian conditioning or bad upbringing, through nature and nurture? Have we actually been compelled to be addicted to things that it feels like an impulse, but it's actually something cancerous? It's where we've become victims of Stockholm syndrome to some Benedict Arnold within. I think all those things are true. So why overplan? Why not just live? Because just living leads you down some dark trails if you're not paying attention. Who will be the author of your fate? Is it really you? Are you really making the decisions, or is dopamine making the decisions for you? Is your family making the decisions for you? And if you don't hold yourself accountable, someone will. These are shots from Genius, National Geographic, about Einstein, and then on the right there, that's Jake Gyllenhaal in October Sky. And both of these images are scenes of the machinery, the subtext, the source code, the bottom of the full stack of Western civilization that requires you to deal with accounts, to become a clerk, and to become a coal miner. And if you've done anything that forces you to deal with that stuff, and and you're a free-spirited person, that feels like hell. That shot, I think of that shot all the time of Jake Gyllenhaal looking up at the sky as he goes down into the mines. That's like the free spirit's idea of hell right there. But if you don't pay attention to it, then you can get kind of glib. And something I'm trying to get this podcast to be in 2020 is somewhere between, the self-help that you see in someone like Dave Ramsey, who's trying to help people get out of debt, Jordan B. Peterson, who's trying to help people get, more self-aware and not addicted to compulsions or to external control. But you got a little picture of Don Quixote over there. There's some part of us that doesn't know which way to go, and when we hear them it sounds just like give advice. It sounds glib, and it doesn't really translate. And there's something true to this angst that it's not getting through. It's not getting through these self-help sort of ideals. Like, oh, all you have to do is just, tighten up your wallet. All you have to do is just focus your will. But like Bomb Diggy Bomb Bomb points out, there's something there. Sometimes that impulse is right, though. There's something about your heart's desires that are not always corrupt. That's just like, and if you listen to, the self-help guru and repress that, it just festers. And that's the image there in the middle of that dude who took that plane and flew off into the sunset and died. Just hijacked that plane and died, because if you keep repressing it and just toe the line and work on yourself, things intervene. It doesn't always work out, man. Like,
well, that's why we've come back, or at least I have come back to that quote, learn the rules like a pro so that you can break them like an artist. An artist. I think we try to know, at least be familiar with the rules, of Ramsey. What's his name? Ramsey, right?
Yeah,
Dave Ramsey. And we, more closer probably follow the wisdom of JBP, but both of us are artists, and we, I think we long to master those rules. But
Right.
we have a difficulty doing it because we're artists and we break the rules.
And we're
all-
dilettantes too. Like, and
Yeah.
I think that's one of the problems of if you're trying to be a Renaissance man, you end up becoming a dilettante more often than not. You become like a 7, a 3 of all trades and a jack of none. So that's the counterpoint to what Eric Weinstein said that Improbable One shared, where he said, you become the jack of one trade but connector of none. But our problem is not that. We become a 2 of all trades and a jack of none. And so, you become dilettantes, and then we're not far enough into anything to really make any impact within those spheres. And so that is like that whole dichotomy we keep talking about, like the mastery of craft and action that David Foster Wallace talks about. Yeah. You cross that threshold and then you cease becoming an artist, though. I was thinking about that. Like we're listening to that old M80, that one M, whatever the name of that hipster band is, the
yeah. I love that song.
I do too. Like it's my hipster guilty pleasure. But at the end of that song, after this repetitive thing, it's literally it's artistic because it's like not virtuosic at all. It's the most repetitive thing. But then at the end, they got this saxophone soloist. I guarantee you that is not one of the band members. They had to farm that out to a saxophone session player who's probably not a great artist. Like in terms of like creativity, but he's a fantastic virtuoso. And it's hard to find someone where both of those things meet, who is creative, but also adept.
M83.
You think that they are?
Huh? M83.
M83,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's most of that kind of music too. It's just one guy who has a vision. He hires people.
He's basically the screenwriter, or he's the composer.
The composer conductor. Yeah.
That's a way to look at singer songwriters of our day. Yeah. And so, carrying on from that, I asked the question: why do you want freedom? What would freedom mean to you? What would it look like? For me, it's somewhere between Jordan B. Peterson and Mark Fu. Mark Fu was a Chinese American surfer who ended up in Hawaii and just had this indefatigable energy. Just like he just wouldn't be stopped. He was going to get to the top of the surf world, and really was brash. And there's many things have been written about how his brashness led to his death. I don't want to die surfing. And he was famous for saying, if you want to base something like that, if you want to chase the ultimate thrill, you have to be willing to pay the ultimate price, something along those lines.
Wow.
So, and Bronze Age pervert, that's one of the things that he talks about. Like, we've lost that sort of thing. We need that. Men need that sort of like just all hands on deck, willing to die,
balls to the wall.
And we lack that, and it's kind of festering. But I don't want to go that far. But on the other hand, I don't want to medicate. I don't want to just toe the line and get through. Somewhere between JBP and again, like so many things of what JBP says, I think is in the right area, and I still have respect for the man. But it's just there's something not quite connecting. There's something missing, and somewhere in between those two things. So I decided one thing that can help you, I think, not a rule for life, but a suggestion you might try, a heuristic that might work, is compile a list of people who prove it's possible, whatever it is. Maybe these people in and of themselves as individuals is not the whole picture of what you want to turn into. But it kind of helps you realize, oh, wow, like that person is a successful surfer who's not a drug addict. That person is a successful filmmaker who's not a sellout. That person's a successful filmmaker who made tons of money and is still not a sellout. And I got lists of, Indian actors in there. I've got at the bottom, internet personalities. So these are people that have all impacted me in some way. And I'm like, if I could make what they're making or have made, I feel like that's in the vicinity of where I want to go. So it can kind of, because so often you get black pilled, right? You're just like, there is no way out of this fog. Everything is terrible.
Mm.
And just looking at this picture, I'm like, oh yeah, no, I forgot about that. Like, we have short-term memory loss when it comes to the good stuff. And then the next step for me, if left alone, what do you gravitate towards? And I think that that's what Bomb Diggy Bomb Bomb was getting at. He's talking about how the impulse that you have, if you can if you can cut through the fat layers and get to the heart of what you're really drawn to, and realize where some of your desires have gone tainted and gone in these little feedback loops, if you can get back to the source of what it is that really captivates you, motivates you, and is a pure passion that you're not, that you, if you anybody found out about it, you're like, yeah, that's me, and you don't care, you know.
Yeah.
So for me, I think of No Country for Old Men. I think of the Coen brothers. So much of their imagery and their just way of storytelling has been instrumental to me. I think of Rumble in the Bronx, Jackie Chan fight scene on top of that pool table, just whimsical fighting and dancing. It's Albie Layer in the middle there, coming out of a barrel, just pure surf stoke, as we say. He's got his hands behind his back and it's just a grateful pose. It's not like look at me, I'm the man. It's like, thank you, waves. Thank you, Neptune. And then bottom left there, that is The Fall, one of my favorite movies of all time. Tarsem is just has a way with this sort of Jungian archetypal imagery, and he brings his just a very distinct perspective on everything. Go back and watch Losing My Religion. I just keep go back and watch that music video for REM, and it's just rich. And then the symphony, something I've lost over the past 10 years. There's some part of me that's linked to that. So when I hear people talk about music and they're talking about, you know, whether it be rap music or whatever is popular, I feel like no connection at all. I just feel totally. But when I see that picture, it kind of brings me back. And then that bottom right is the dance scene from the Sada Delivery 2 from ABCD that we talked about last week. So if you can find out what like your fun is that's unadulterated, I guess that's the thing. Then you can kind of use that as a compass to navigate this third path between, you know, the responsibilities we have to society and this free-spirited urge. And you can kind of find something that, because all of these endeavors here were money-making ventures. You know, they gave these people, you know, they threaded that needle between art, social responsibility, and financial incentive. You know, all of those things meet in these. You don't have to sell out in order to make money, is, you know, basically the truth. But we don't believe that. All we can think about is all the shysters and all the, you know, grifters and everything. It's like none of these people are grifters to me. And if they're grifters to other people, that's fine. I mean, I'm going to still pay these people for what they do, you know?
Right. Yeah, I think the difficulty for me is that when I was young, I had so many passions. I had so many hobbies and things that were fun to me. And as I get older, the difficulty for me is really identifying a direction, identifying something that I'm passionate about. I remember my brother talking about, do you know who Scott Adams is, the Dilbert guy?
Yeah.
So he wrote a book about how we can affect change through affirmations. Like he would like write down 10 times a day. He would write down an affirmation. And one of them was that he would become a comic book. You know, he would have a comic in syndicated newspapers, and it happened. And he talked about how you can make that happen. And the thing that my brother and I continually discuss is I don't know what to write in the affirmation. You know, I feel like half of the power in writing down these affirmations, you know, and like and in JBP's focusing on that one highest good. The difficulty for me is narrowing it down to something that I'm excited about, that I'm passionate about. You know,
right.
I don't have surfing I don't have violin,
Right.
in my life. These things. Um, so yeah, that has been the thing that I'm trying to cultivate in the last couple of weeks is just this
Right.
idea of like, what is that? How do I narrow it down to at least a couple things that I'm willing to give everything and put everything into?
Right. And I think for me, the surfing thing, the problem with it is I live on the Gulf Coast and the surf is so inconsistent that it
Mm,
isn't very grounding anyway, because you can go a whole month without getting any. So what do you do in that time? And then when you do get it, it's like heightens everything, and everything on the back end of it feels muted. It's
mm,
almost like a binge purge, like a,
yeah.
doldrums. Um,
Hmm.
and so you get real addicted to that feeling. Um, I think for me, my sneaking suspicion for all of us
Hmm.
is we got to make movies because
Hmm.
nobody else is making what needs to be made, and I mean that. I mean, I think in like post internet world, post video game, post internet, like there's a entire like multi-phasic, multi-genre, multimedia way of cinematic storytelling that is untapped,
Hmm.
and we're the only ones that can figure it out. And the next two generations, but their version's going to be way beyond. But we haven't even caught up with 1995. Like we're just still everything is just kind of this is the way they used to do it, and because
Hmm.
everyone's still bowing at the feet of Orson Welles and Francis Ford Coppola, or
Hmm.
whatever. Like really, none of us have caught up to Kubrick. Kubrick is still ahead of us. And so like we need our generations, like we need Gen X, really the generation before us. We need Gen X to
I'm
un
Gen. We're Gen
no, we're
Xers.
not. We're in
Oh, we
between.
are.
No, we're not. Gen X was like born so that they were experiencing all of the 80s as teens. Like
Uh,
we're in between Gen X and millennials. We're called Busters or something, or Gen Y or something. I don't know. There's a name for us, but no, we're not like explicitly Gen X. We are right on the cutoff. So it's like you're born 79 or 80, you're like on the tail end of Gen X, but 81 started a whole new thing.
well, I'm 80, so
Oh, well, you can't, you're on the, but you're right on the line. And I guarantee you're more a child of the 90s than you are 80s.
maybe
I don't know. Maybe you're not. Maybe that's
you're
fine.
81.
Yeah, I'm 81.
It feels weird that like 1 year would make the big difference.
Well, but I mean, when we met in college, I thought you were like this old man on campus. I'm like, oh, here's big man on campus. This guy's dignified. He's refined. He's a Gen Xer as opposed to little old me.
Which is so funny because I have the same impression of you.
Well, my voice helps that, obviously.
Yeah,
Like people hear my
yeah,
voice and they think that I'm older than I am, or
yeah.
um, my Tommy Lee
Well,
Jones acne scars. So that helps too.
so maybe we should slowly start talking about. No, less talking. Maybe okay. Maybe start talking about, but implementing small steps to making movies. Then.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've started. So the one scene that's stuck in my head that I can't get out, and I think I have to get it out before I can really move on with my life, is that foot chase scene set to Mars Volta's Day of the Baphomets. Like it's
Hmm.
indelibly linked to my creative brain until I can flesh it out in some way or another. I'm gonna be stuck in this little spin cycle.
Mm.
Um, but being able to do it, it's it's
Mm.
way beyond my capabilities. Like I mean, it would be you need like creature feature effects. You need a budget.
Creature feature effects. What's
Yeah,
that?
definitely uh, David Cronenberg esque horror, Geiger esque alien horror,
Okay.
Lovecraftian, disgustingness. So I mean, it's beyond my capabilities. Um, so I think starting out, like we filmed a little gag. Here, let's see if I can show it to you guys.
Okay.
This is the first. Aaron came over the other night. We had this idea in one night, so we're gonna do some of these. I think sketches are the easiest things to start off with because they're the lowest risk, and you don't even have to write a script for them. You can basically just kind of improv it. So where the crap did I put it? Oh, shoot. Florida Man Shorts, that's what I'm calling it. All right, so this one is just the first shot of the sketch. The sketch will be a 45-second advertisement for this product called Toothsome. Hey, it was encoded in a format you can't play? Are you an idiot? Who am I going to yell at today? Is it Microsoft? Is it Adobe? Is it Apple? And this is why, you get frustrated with the glib certainty of Dave Ramsey or JBP, because you're just like, dude, you've dealt with this bullshit.
Yeah.
You tell me just focus on the fundamental. There is no fundamentals because nobody shares the same proprietary mechanism of distributing the fundamentals. That's why communism is still an active thing. Why people can still talk about this dead meme, because we're all still so pissed off.
Yeah.
Okay, here.
Would you say there's still no what? No mechanism?
Oh, who knows?
That was so good, though. I don't have to go back and read it or listen to it.
God help us all, everyone. Good evening, Rahul. How are you? What are your thoughts on Disney taking over the music industry? My thoughts on Disney taking over the movie industry, are my same thoughts on T-Series taking over the Indian music industry. I hate T-Series with a passion, every fiber of my being. I hate Disney with a passion, every fiber of my being. I hate them both. I mean, it is if I should just, instead of all this nice stuff, I should just have two pictures of T-Series logo and Mickey Mouse, and that would just be that's
your motivation.
My motivation is to destroy them off the face of the earth. Both of them, just to take over. Take them on.
So that we can become the Disney.
No, I don't want. That's what I don't want.
I know.
I want a free market. I want a free market open. So I mean, we have these mechanisms in place that are actually good. Open source software, man. Video game companies. Look at how League of Legends. Look at how Riot Games, and it's, for crying out loud, it is funded by pure communism. But you look at the way that they do their distribution and marketing. Riot lets everyone use everything. No holds barred.
Yeah.
Dota 2, you're right, is even more open source than Riot. That's true.
What is?
Dota. I mean, y'all really have a perfect example of what uninhibited corporate open source can look like. Just take this and run with it, guys. This is our product. We make it. We're going to make money from it. But, have fun. Play it. Perform it. Reuse. Remix. Etc.
Well, that's what it used to be. It's not anymore.
Well,
it's just as bad as anything else now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not just as bad as Disney.
No, for sure.
No, nothing is as bad as Disney. Not even Apple is as bad as Disney at this point.
So what would be?
Now, let me show you this goofy thing.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Let's see.
How do I see it? I just have to wait a couple seconds, I guess. That's all right.
Man, my brain is not working. I need Jamie, please. Jamie, transport over here. Douchebag. Get over here. Video. Well, Adobe Premiere. Here we go. All right, here I'll just. Yep. Oh yeah, that's brilliant. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it right there. Yeah, totally. See everything. Yeah, wonderful. It's my buddy Aaron. So we filmed this. Spur of the moment, off the cuff.
Okay.
This is just the first shot. So this is the teaser for what will be coming. All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it's brilliant. You can hear everything. Why can I not hear this? Oh, because I'm playing the wrong thing. I put it on the wrong thing. Jamie, where are you? Okay, so the aspect ratio makes no sense, and nothing makes any sense. You're gonna like it. I don't care. All right.
This is great TV.
This is great TV right here. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, play it now.
Yeah, I'm getting a beer. You want anything? Yeah, give me a Dr. Pepper. What I'm talking about right there.
There you go. That's the first shot. That's it. So the gag is he can't stand like tasteless soft drinks. So he's gonna get a. So this is a product that lets you pour. All it is high fructose corn syrup in a bottle. You literally just pour all the high fructose corn syrup that would be in there if it were made by Pepsi. It's like, for to make it taste like Pepsi. Make it taste like Diet Pepsi, 1 drop. To make it taste like Pepsi, 5 drops. To make it taste like Jolt Cola, 10 drops. And so that's it. And so we actually made this little printout, and we put it on this bottle of those Mio packets.
I love Mio.
Yeah. So it's like Mio, but it's like pure sugar. So we actually put corn syrup into the thing, and so we had to pour it on the thing.
Where'd you get corn syrup?
We had it in the cupboard. I don't know. So we had corn syrup in the cupboard. I think probably because we filmed a video one time with that involved blood, and so we.
Oh right.
So,
yeah. Cool.
So start small. I think for our cinematic dreams, start small.
I think it bothered me. You're like, I'm gonna get a beer. You want something? He's like, Dr. Pepper. I don't know. So like, something weird about that. I don't dislike Dr. Pepper, but I don't know. Like it jolted me from like, oh, beer to Dr. Pepper to LaCroix. That was good.
Like you're mad that he's a teetotaler. He's not drinking. He's not a teetotaler, by the way. Yeah, that is the problem with writing it on the fly. Is there's always going to be some little thing that's not going to work properly.
No, I mean it works fine.
I think we're going to probably just channel Churdleys. Like they're like lately the only people that have made sketch comedy that's actually worked at some level. Like that one about the Churdleys. It's the 2 dudes. Well, there's a few of them, but it's like that. They got that one character where the guy is like a pothead, and he's just trying to hang out with his friends, and they're always just having these weird conversations because they're so stoned they don't. Like there's the one where they meet in the park, him and his friend. You haven't seen that?
I have to. How do you spell it?
So good. Churdleys. Cherdleys.
Churdleys.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, that's just the basic idea, trying to get to filmmaking eventually. Because like, I went back and watched the trailer for 2001. I realized I just need to go back and watch all of Kubrick's work because I've only seen The Shining, and
that's all you've seen,
and Full Metal Jacket, and watching Full Metal Jacket for the first time from beginning to end. I was like, okay, this guy. I just always thought it was like overhyped. Like it was just some like hipster artsy fartsy. Like, oh, everyone likes Kubrick just to be cool.
Yeah.
And because Dr. Strangelove is great, but it's just, of course I've seen Strangelove, but it's great, but I don't know. It just wasn't quite my speed. And that's the great thing about Kubrick is he makes a different movie every time. And it's just, so I don't I look at the movies that I have liked the most in the last 20 years that kind of served as my touchstone or my North Star. And I'm like, they're really just riffing on cinematic history. Like they're saying things and they're good, but we're not seeing the changes in culture that would result from the, Gutenberg's printing press.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not works of art of that caliber. They're not, Bach or Mozart, I would say, or Beethoven's Ninth, like a turning point in the history of everything creative. And whether or not you like Beethoven's Ninth doesn't really matter. Like it was the end of Romanticism. Like that was it. It was like the death knell or the, moving on to something else. So, like that's what I want to make. That's what I want to see. I want to see something that's, it's starting something entirely new. And I think the most I've felt that was with stuff like Lynch or Cronenberg. I mean, we do have these visionaries, but again, it's they kind of feel like murmurs of something that's coming, but they're not quite sure where it is.
Well, I think Chris Nolan, with his, particularly with Memento, but also Following and a couple of his other movies, changed the way we started to look at movies for sure.
Well, yeah, and again, but I think it's like beating around the bush. Like they're concerned with an idea, committing Inception, but what is it leading to?
Have you ever seen Pi? That's who's
I
that?
have not seen that one. Aronofsky.
Aronofsky. That's another guy. Another. He did The Fountain. A couple movies that have changed the way I've started to look at movies.
Well, and I look at like Tarsem again, but there are certain things that I feel like they're references to things he's read. I still don't feel like it's like Kubrick level. I just saw the end of his movie. It's the Kirk Douglas war movie, Kubrick's, and I just watched the last 5 minutes of it. And
what is it you think is so different about him? Like, I'm not a huge. I don't like Kubrick actually.
I feel like he's optimistic.
He's optimistic.
I think, I love the Coens, but I think they're just performatively nihilistic. Then they're couching everything in this sort of ironic. It's like the Seinfeld effect, It's like it's the end of history, so let's just put the camera on these murderers.
So there's like he's productive. I
think he's knocking on the next stage of human evolution, and I think most of us don't want to believe it. We're just kind of like stuck in this holding pattern that's just basically, I mean, like listening to William, the Exorcist director. I'm blanking on his name right now. Anyways, the Exorcist director, listen to him talk. He's just like, no one will ever do it as good as Orson Welles. And you're like, well, if you have that attitude, yeah, you're right. It's like Orson Welles. I mean, he just happened into it, he went into it wide-eyed, like look at the possibilities, and it's just that we lack. And I feel that so often when I watch movies. It's just basically like, let's watch World War One. We're gonna go watch 1917 tonight. It's like World War One, World War Two. It's just we're just sitting here stuck in the end of history.
I thought I saw 1917. I think you'll like it.
I mean, I think I will too, but again, like this is not. I mean, I liked Saving Private Ryan, to be honest, but none of these movies are saying what needs to happen. It's just this happened. Sigh. They're just all going in a circle around the drain hole of history when something happened, and I feel like it happened around Nietzsche, Jung, somewhere around there. I mean, right around when these pivotal events that changed the world forever happened. I mean, all of it stems from that. I mean, India became a nation after all that shit went down. World War I, World War II, that we're stuck there. Like we're just stuck repeating the same questions. This dialectical materialism, and like blah, blah, blah. We're just jacking off to the same circle jerk, and like there's something happened, but we haven't gotten the person to really say what it is. And I feel like Kubrick and Nietzsche are like pointing. They don't really know, but they know kind of. I had an interaction on Twitter this morning, dude. It's just weird. I'll just read it to you. So. About a week ago, Nick Land tweeted, "Everyone agrees Western civilization is a reductio ad absurdum. Only question is which axiom screwed it." So I replied, because that's all I am on Twitter, apparently, is a reply guy. But at least Nick Land actually responds to me, as opposed to other people who think that they're God's gift to everything. I said, Greco-Roman Judaized Christianity is the problem. Christianity, in choosing to centralize through a Greek philosophy, Roman polity, and Jewish hermeneutic, is the imperial mandate of ossification. And then I quoted Jesus. Why do you seek actually, this is an angel. We don't even know who said this. Why do you seek the living among the dead? And then Jesus said, not one of these stones. And then Land responded, he said, hard for me to understand why Europe needed to go scrabbling about in the Middle East for a religion. The fact it did suggests there was already something rotting in the foundations. And then this dude, this is a week later, or that was 5 days ago that interaction happened. And Nick Land was like one of like 3 people who actually liked what I said. Everyone else was just like, circle jerking up to Nick. This other guy responded to Nick and said this: because monotheism is an unwanted heresy for both Anglo-Celtic and Arab-Persian polytheism that emerged by pure chance through the weaponization of the alphabet against God-Emperor syndrome. Holy shit, you could write a thesis about this tweet. I was like, what? So I went to this guy's account. He's from Sydney. His name is Proletariatorialization. And I said to him, I had to read this 5 times. I then had to read through all your tweets to try to pigeonhole you. I have not been able to do so. So thank you for this unique reply. Any recommendations on reading to decrypt ideas in your tweet without necessarily robbing it of its wonder? Nick Land liked that reply. Or, well, no, he said the same thing. He's like, I had a hard time with this tweet too. Nick Land had a hard time with this guy's tweet. The guy has like less than 200 followers. Who is this dude? So here's what he responded to me. There was a dissident tradition, Pythagoreanism, that Plato annihilated. Christ is the inheritor of it, and it travels through Mani to Jung. The work of outsideness, Nick Land, traverses around the edges of it via Deleuze and Guattari, who unknowingly, synthesize it with materialism. And then he said, I unequivocally recommend the work of Peter Kingsley, especially from Dark Places of Wisdom on, and Jung from Ion on. I have this thing when I read somebody and they commit adultery, for some reason, I can't read them anymore. If they treat their family like shit, like I can't handle Gandhi because of the way that he treated his family. So I read Jung and he ended up having an affair, and I quit reading about him. I was like, and it's a prejudice I have. I feel like if you F your family over, it's just like, what good do you have to say? However, the truth is humans are complicated, and we all screw up. We all screw up in manifold ways. And, writing people off for one thing they did wrong, even if it did impact those who are, very close to them, it doesn't negate what they say. I mean, there's a lot of times that they say stuff that's irrefutable, and you neglect it to your peril. You may neglect it to your own family's peril. And Jung, oh man, I mean, so what I said to him is, I somehow stumbled across Jung's essay about Hitler called Wotan, and I've talked about it on this podcast before. And that rewired my brain. Like, he predicted what was going to happen. Nobody listened to him. That essay, I recommend as highly as anything else has been written in the 20th century. Maybe one of the most important things written in the 20th century. He warned the world, and nobody listened. And he warned the world not with this like anti-German sentiment, but with a like, you guys don't know what you're unearthing here. There's a spirit that's coming out, and you're not going to stop it. And Hitler's basically the reincarnation of Odin, and you're going to pay. And the world's about to do the same thing with India too. Like, you keep pushing Hindus around, Ram's going to reincarnate. It's going to happen, and it ain't going to be pretty. Same with China. You can't just pretend that you understand China. You don't know. You scratch too deep, you're going to find out. Same with Japan. You scratch too deep. Japan seems like they're just a cultural epicenter right now, but you push too hard. There are some of these places that are just going to say no, this far and no further. The line is going to be drawn here. You don't know what you've unearthed. And so this guy is kind of pointing in the same direction, that there's something unknown that materialistic post-monotheism pretends doesn't exist. And that glib indifference to local tribal deity is about to face reality in the 21st century. So that's what I think our art should explore. I was blown away this week when the stupid masterclass pre-roll ads come on, like every freaking YouTube video.
I love those. I watch them all.
The crazy thing is they're so well made. Every time it's like they're basically like what do you call chef's table, you know, like the music, the editing, everything matches the personality, and it kind of sucks you in. So every time I watch a poker video, there's Daniel Negreanu. It's like the thing you have to realize when you go to the poker table is everything conveys information. Like, everything is just so meticulously chosen to represent the person and their skill set. So Ken Burns comes on, you know, the documentarian, and he says, and I'm like, Ken Burns has this very effeminate voice, you know, he's a PBS director. I hate PBS. I hate NPR, all it. I'm over it. So I'm about ready to skip it. And he starts off his statement. It is the job of the artist to bring the audience into hell. And I was like,
I saw that too. I thought of you.
And I thought about his oeuvre. You know, I thought about his body of work. I was like, wow, man, you know, Civil War, that really was what he was doing there. And, you know, my dad, being almost a South Will Rise Again sort of white guy, watched that and loved it. You know, and you think about, like, that's what journalism is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be like casting aspersions on a whole body of people, you know, propaganda. Like, a documentary is actually supposed to be a journal. And the reason I've written off documentaries is because they're not that. Like, ever. They're never that. But I thought about, well, no, I mean, Ken Burns actually did some pretty good stuff that managed to be representative instead of preachy or didactic, you know, descriptive instead of prescriptive. And that statement made me think, oh, that's what we need. You know, we need Dante's Inferno for the 21st century. We need a Dante today, because what Dante did was he was ruthless with public figures, politicians. I mean, he took art and just held it up as a middle finger to every asshole who was using God as a means of, you know, advancing themselves. And it was funny, and it was like Joey Diaz. Like, it was extremely problematic. Like, stuff. I mean, all of our horror is inherited from Dante's descriptions of the 7 layers of hell. And it's like, when you imagine, like, oh, what would hell be like? Yep, okay. I see where Geiger and Lovecraft got it. We need Dante's Inferno, but it, like, for the first episode of this podcast, we need to go to hell, but we need to learn to dance.
Yeah.
So that's what I want our film to be. But yeah, you're right. Like, we have to have a starting point, and what does that look like? And I think in 2020, let's try to discover that. Discover what that looks like. I think that's it.
It's good.
All right.
I feel like we have better conversations around the self-help, movie making, that kind of.
I do too.
I just, for my part, I need your help learning about India.
I think there's a way we can do it without it becoming like the based Bollywood podcast, you know. I think we can, and it just didn't work today, so I think we'll probably keep it separate. I'll think through it, but probably next week we'll just pick up this part in this slideshow where we're at in the Mastery of Craft and Action, and see where it takes us, because that's the question I'm trying to understand, is that the problem posed by David Foster Wallace in that essay, How Tracy Austin Broke My Heart, how to figure out how to become better than a 3 of all trades without losing that cross-connected wonder, like that you don't just become a tactician, or you don't just become a virtuoso, that you find a way to preserve both. Is it possible? And I feel like that's the next stage of human evolution, is being able to be more than a dilettante, become a Renaissance man that's compassionate. That's the hard thing. Once you get that God tier view, I mean, it's just the Eye of Sauron, right? You're like, the power is mine, and you just want to annihilate. That's why I'm so drawn to Renekton in League of Legends. I just want to. Speaking of which, I'm going to play some Renekton now. So,
all right. Are you going to stop the stream, or you're just
I'm
going to
just
keep
gonna
streaming?
go right into it. I got a gig in an hour, so I've got to make this
go.
fast. All right.
All
Enjoy
right.
your next podcast. What podcast are you going to now?
Not today. Tomorrow we'll be doing it's called Chicken Foot, but it'll come out later on this year.
Okay, sounds good. Godspeed, everyone. Until next time.
From the bottom of my heart, I salute you.
Bottom of my heart, I salute you. Take a deep breath this week and don't overreact.
Amen.
All right. Godspeed. Thanks, man.
You too. You too. Bye.
Bye. All right, I'm going to switch over. Let's see if this thing will actually work. Oh, crap. Come on, man. Are you serious? For some reason, it gets stuck where it won't use my camera. Oh, it just did. Never mind. I'm an idiot. All right, I'm going to play some League of Legends now if anyone wants to just stop and chat for a few minutes. And I got to go to a gig. I can't play Dota 2, dude. It's too late. It's too late for me, my son. It's too late for me. I've already gone to the dark side. Riot has me. I'm a monogamous gamer. Only one game. Played through Luigi's Mansion with my son. I hate regular video games now. I'm just like, let's just get to the point. I don't even like any part of it. Like, my poor son is just like trying to enjoy the game, and I'm sitting there, this boss is stupid. All right, so I got relegated to bronze. I'm slowly clawing my way back up out of bronze into silver, and bronze 2 now. I have Steam, and I have like access to 50 video games, some of which have been purchased for me by viewers of the channel, some of them purchased by me, and they've literally just sat there for 5 years because I went down the League rabbit hole and I've never come out. So here we are. To Heroes of the Storm. Yeah, so I got other viewers of the channel, especially Zerani. He really loves Heroes, or loved Heroes when it was there. And specifically like the team play element of it. Yeah, League is just a juggernaut. And I've had many times where I've left the game. But I don't know, it's my gravity well. I do struggle with the question, is it just all a waste of time? And I don't know. But I keep coming back. So if it is just an addiction or a midlife crisis, which, it's quite possible. I am open to that possibility. Yeah, I know. From a certain perspective it is. But, certain brands do different things better. And Apple does phones better than Microsoft. That is irrefutable. There's some people who can argue for an Android case. Yeah, I'm fine with that, but I've had a Microsoft phone before. absolute garbage. And League gets objective control. What is the word? It's definitely the Apple-ish of the two. You know, much more proprietary, much more hands-on, much more slimmed down. Of course, the champion pool is not slimmed down. The champion pool is really annoying. It never ends. But, I mean, that's their... My theory about League is it's not just a monetary incentive for why there's so many champions. I think it's kind of the meta of our world. Kind of like what we talk about on the podcast, where you have to become conversant with so many different things, juggle so many different areas of expertise, that League, you know, like I'm a Renekton one trick and I'll think I'll be really good, and then I'll come against somebody else who's a one trick of a champion I never have laned against, and they will absolutely dumpster me. And it is not Mordekaiser.
Yes, sir.
And see, and I think it is an easier version of Dota in certain things. In certain ways, yes. I would agree with that. In certain ways, it's not easier because you have to, you know, it's a sliding scale. Like, there's certain things that make League hard. There are more people, for one, so you have to deal with countless trolls. So that makes League hard. Yeah, and that's one of their gimmicks, to get people to buy. Definitely. But the updating of patches with League makes it a very dynamic game. It is not the same game. It is basically a different video game every month. It's not... I mean, it's called League of Legends, but I mean, if you look at the iterations of it since 2009 or 2010, it doesn't even look the same. And the changes even they made this year, I like them. Like, I genuinely think the game has improved. It's gone through some rough patches, where it's quite literally rough patches, where I just quit for a year. You know? Patches are frequent in Dota 2. Okay. Yeah. And I play, like I said, I really cannot, I'm no expert on the subject. I cannot comment because I've never really played other than one time. My nephew's playing, but I gotta make this game. I gotta make this game fast because I gotta leave like at 11:30 for 7. Please quit telling me. I have read these like 85 times. I am in Panama City, Florida. It's my hometown. So the panhandle of Florida, the Redneck Riviera, known for our beautiful beaches, and for about 20 years there, we were a spring break hub. Might be doing a collaboration with an Indian YouTube channel. I met these guys at one of our, I guess one of the only meetups we did when the Surfing Violinist was starting to take off. We met at Dilly Hot and Pacao TV. They're big now, man. They got way more subscribers than I've ever even come close to having. 600K. I think they're at 600K subscribers now. I think that's right. Yeah, they're off to the races, and they basically do kind of like YouTube version of Indian comedy soaps. Like they have canned laughter, and they found a real cost-effective way of shooting. They do all this stuff green screen, and they do stuff in post. They do a lot of post work. They put a lot of time into their work, and so I might do a cameo. I am a Florida man. I actually have a side YouTube channel as a joke, Weird Florida Man, and we would film these things on the dock, and I put on this like, say this kind of surfer dude voice, yeah. But he's like he's kind of a brute, dumb idiot. He's the alter ego of me, I guess. My id. He's my id. Yeah, that's it. And I had a lot of fun doing those. We think we might actually bring some of those back. I lived mainly so my first time to India, I spent a summer in Varanasi, and it was in 2002. And it was a great time. Just, as everyone who goes to India has a life-changing experience. And yeah, it changed my life. I came back, and then 2008, maybe, I went back to Mumbai, short trip, 2007, 2008? I went twice in those 2 years. My wife came with me in 2008. We're going over just to figure out if we could make it work. Live over there as a family. At the time, my daughter had some health complications. And we're kind of worried about it. But yeah, it all worked out. We were able to go back in 2011. And we lived, in the beginning, we lived in Noida, right across the river from Delhi. We got some jam happening down here. So yeah, 2011, lived in Noida till 2013. Came back to America, had to get some visa stuff sorted out. Visited some family and friends. Then went back to Noida, did some house hunting. You can see that video. It's one of my favorite videos I did. I think we did a house hunting video showing what the process was for us.
Minions have spawned.
These people giving a shit about what happens level 1. Like, it doesn't even matter, dude. If you only been there, you get the extra 50 gold. Like, what? For what purpose? It's 400 gold for the first person. But even that, like, I've gotten those, but wasted flash and TP, and then end up losing the lane. It's a waste of time. So yeah, we lived in Noida, and we made the move across the river. Lived in Kalkaji in South Delhi. Love Kalkaji, dude. CR Park's right next door. Great markets, great street food. Just had a fantastic landlord, Sikh dude. Just really awesome, man. It was a good time. It was a good time of our lives. We hope to go back. If I could live anywhere, I'd probably just go right back to Kalkaji. I mean, it's changed a lot. I don't even think I'd recognize it if I were there, to be honest. Got a new metro station, all kinds of crap. Shoot, I screwed that up bad. Get the CS rather than harass. Wait till level 3. Hey, Improv One, how you doing, man? I've been trying to salute you. That's a good question. This week, no, I have not. I've done absolutely terrible at that job. But yeah, we're doing good. That was preliminary flash out of that. Why do you think people who visit India have a life-changing experience, but Indians don't? I don't know. I think it's just there are so many things that are out of the typical Westerner's mindset. Yeah, the more the change of culture just gives you such a different perspective. Yeah, I know.
All right.
11:45.
Oh, not 11:15.
No.
I thought it was 11:15. Okay, you're good.
You hate Delhi? Oh, come on. Yeah, I understand why though, but it's just yeah, we love it. Where's your preferred place? Location? Oh, no, come on. Oh, I got the wrong thing. Goa. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I haven't been. Still have not been to Goa yet. One day. That thing hurts. No! I missed the canyon creep! Too much crime in Delhi and pollution. Yeah, one day I would. I saw a TED Talk given by a lady who visited India and then quit her job and then started something else. Oh, what? Riot Games, come on, man. Dude, you were full of it. My E didn't proc. I went right through a minion. Oh, that pissed me off, dude. There's no way I did not go through a minion there. Safe now until 6. I can't even E in. Gives him right back into this thing. Okay, this is good for me. Work up some fury. I missed that camp. I missed that creep too. Jeez. Retard. I got my rage up. I think I might go all in him. Gotcha! That's fine. I don't even need to follow up. Do his flash. Prolong his 6. We'll see if I can. This thing ain't. This thing's up. I'll get it. And then I'll come back to lane. I don't think he can. What the crap? Where'd it go? Oh no! Do I dare to stay with? 200 seconds, man. I don't know. I don't really like this spot that I'm in. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to back. I don't know, right, just to farm under turret. Put myself in a bad spot. I should have backed right after I got him out of the lane. I can't face him right now. He's got... I mean, I got more attack damage than him, that's for sure, but... Slowly but surely build up some fury. We get dragon. I mean, we're doing okay here. Okay, I got ult coming up. I might be able to face him with ult and full fury. Get out. I'll wait for my E to come back up and then I'll all in. Well, he's healing up pretty good. I think he's got 1100. Oh, wow, that was not good, dude. I think I might be able to all in off that. I'm going to. Okay, sure. Now if he gets his... whatever that thing is. That did not go as well as hoped. Good morning, Zerny. How you doing? There's a podcast recommendation. Gary Kasparov on the Portal. That is a good idea, yeah. Well, that is a good idea. I have not seen that one yet. Okay, well, at least that lasted his ult. Of course, he outlasted mine. That wasn't good, dude. There it is. Thank you, Moo Moo. Good man. Oh yeah. I think I'll just back. Yeah, I think I should definitely check that out. That does sound good. Sounds very good. Sehr gut, yeah. Alright. Last of the beginning. It's good, but really I should be more ahead of him than I am, I think. 2 kills is okay, but my farm should be better than this, I think. Mid lane is doing well, though, so that's good. We're 5-0. We need this to be a fast game, too, because I need to get out of here. Oh, I couldn't see what you'd posted, Zerdy. It's like, for some reason, Restream clamped it. It looked like this little bullet or something. My my logo, my emote. What in the world? The boy's like screaming outside. Oh yeah, that's good. He's about to be dead. Dude, he's hurting. This is the new champ. Gotcha. Dude, he's hurting. Hurting. I got him. No, I don't got him! Oh, get wrecked! Ah! Feels good, baby. Feels good to be renekton. Yeah, got my ult. You're gonna die. Nope. No, I'm not. You're gonna die to the Yasuo. No, maybe not. Gosh. Oh. Can't stay. Come on, give me that. Give me that. Oh, I was just out of range. Oh, it's a Twitch thing. You modified it. Squash your remote. What you gonna do about it? Let's go for it. I ain't gonna do nothing. Tomorrow there will be an 8-hour-long charity stream for trees by Indian YouTubers. All the AIB folks are and other fun people. Oh, cool. How is AIB, dude? I haven't kept up with them at all. Dude, I saw the trailer for the gay marriage movie with G2 from TVF. 34 million views. Like, what is going on right now? Insane views. I mean, that's like freaking Avengers kind of numbers. You think I didn't see you? This guy. Mainstream. I know, dude. It's sick. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could have just killed that guy, but I really don't want to risk it. I don't want this new champ getting back in this game. Like, he's dangerous. Oh, there he is. Come on, come on, come on, kill him! No! Ah, how much healing did he get there? Damn it, I knew it! Stupid idiot. I knew he was there. Why did I stay? Ah! AIB not back. Most of them are coming back as individual people. Okay, that makes sense, yeah. Jeez, stupid moron. Can't let that jerk get back in this game. Kill him. Hi there, Smeet. How you doing? Good to see you. What are you doing? What? All right, I will try to keep saluting from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for the encouragement. Thanks for dropping in, Improbable One. Good to see you. Can't catch me. You're taking the whole minion wave, dude. Stop. Yeah, that ain't gonna hurt now. I really don't want to engage under tower. I'll just get one proc of this. Ah, shoot. I should have just stuck with him. Would have killed him. Oh, I guess I do. I'm not going to. I should have stayed to get the gold. Oh, thank you. I am doing well. Thank you, Smeet. Dropping in. Yeah, doing well. I got a violin gig in like 30 minutes, so I'm trying to knock this game out real quick. How am I on time? In 20 minutes. I need to leave. 20 minutes, yeah. I think we should be able to finish this. We cannot throw. I can't die again. Oh, we might be screwed. They could come back in the late game for sure. That does not need to happen right there. Come on, come on. Okay, double kill. Oh, no, she got... That's not good. Yeah, that's a good call. Herald, is it? Coming. Get this on a better thing. He's gonna get him. That'll work. Maybe we just get mid-turret off of that. That's it. No, I'm dead. Come on! How? Oh! That's all Nami, baby. That's all Nami. I have no idea how I lived through that. I tanked another turret shot. I'm like, I'm dead. I'm not dead. Why am I not dead? That's stupid. This game is pretty stupid right now. How did I live through that? This is dumb. Thank you. I'll take that one. Come on, give me that turret, give me that turret. Come on in. Come on in. Let's do it. Good luck for the gig. I think you can finish by then. Yeah, so it's looking okay. It's looking okay. Yeah, we need to do that. Coming. Oh man, they're gonna get it. Come on, get it. Get it, Moo Moo. Get it, Moo Moo. He got it! Our king. Oh, so close. Start pushing out bot lane. I got a TP up pretty soon here. That's good. Come on. Okay, I got them all over here. This is good. If I can just hold them here while they're doing some other stuff. Just distract them. And if I can make it out alive. Sorry, not today. Ah, feels good, man. Yeah.
Your team has
Okay, we're going for it.
destroyed a turret.
I'm just trying to distract for a little bit longer. If I can just survive a second longer. No, it's not gonna happen. I should have waited just a little more. I think we will go with this as a safety measure. I did not need to die that time. Not good. I still need that damage. So I'm gonna still keep building this tanky damage, delivery, compromise. I do have TP. If he kills him, pretty much it. As long as Yas dies here, though, it's not it. Close. He's dead. Dadgummit. That's a bad Moo Moo ult. Do I have something I can TP to? Yeah, I'm just going over here.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
If I can get this, it might be worth. That was bad Moo Moo ult. I don't. If I die here, it's bad. Real bad. Alright, got some pressure. Which is good. Might be able to make it back, get a little bit of this farm. Need to kind of reset and figure out what we're doing here. I might be able to kill Kane if he's alone. He's in level 10. Yeah, he's going to just melt. Let's see if I can get him. Yeah, see ya, buddy. Oh, there it is. There it is. With Set out of the way, I think we can team fight, no problem. Man, they got vines up for ages, though. I really needed to push that bottom wave out so we could have some cross-map pressure. Oh man, that would have been it. Oh, I went the wrong way. Dadgummit. I thought... There's a TP somewhere. Where's it coming from? Oh my gosh, she caught me with that. Unreal, dude. She caught me with that. Oh well, he got the kill. Or she got the kill. Dude, get out of here, dude. Yeah, we gotta finish it fast here. That's what we need to see, right there. I'll give it to Moo Moo for giving that good gank there. Yeah, there you go. You got the S minus. Nicely done, sir. All right. Well, that'll be it for today. So I've got 45 LP. I should be able to get out of... I'm not saying anything. I don't know. This season, all bets are off. I don't know. You play a game and it's like you flame Horizon their entire team one game, and then the next game you barely squeak by. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. All right, I got to go to this gig. Perfect timing. Thanks for your vote of confidence, Meat. Appreciate it. Thanks for everyone for dropping in. Yeah, we're still trying to figure out our format for the podcast in 2020. So it's going to be a little bit all over the place. Some Bollywood and some self-help. We'll find our niche. We're still in the beta phase. So all my podcast numbering system is still 0 point whatever the episode number is. So until next time, from the bottom of my heart, I salute you. Godspeed, y'all.